Okay, good evening to all. My name is Shuri Prakash Chaturvedi and today we are going to do History Marathon. Here we will discuss top 10 to 12 questions from each chapter. Okay, so without wasting any time, let us start with our very first and very important question about the Napoleonic Code. If you have already solved the PYQs, you may have very good idea that sir, in every alternate paper the Napoleonic codes are asked. Okay, so let us discuss about Napoleonic Code. So the question comes like this: analyze the significance of new Napoleonic Code in making the administrative system rational and efficient. Okay, the answer is same, but the pattern of asking question can be different, है ना? They might ask directly that what are different Napoleonic Code, है ना? What are different? So there are multiple way of asking this question, but the answer is same only, है ना? So let us go to the answer. Napoleonic Code 1804. You see, this is important. This is important date, है ना? They can also ask this in MCQ. Okay, so the Napoleonic Code 1804 played an important role in administrative and making it effective. Why? Because it brought the uniformity of law. Before this, as you have already studied the chapter of French Revolution, you would know that sir, there was 3 different sections, है ना? So the law was not uniform, है ना? And before Napoleon also there was multiple government who used to support. We support the poor people, we support the rich people, we only support the propertied men. Okay, we don't have time to go in depth, but he made a uniformity of law, है ना? Then equality before law, protection of property rights, these are important, है ना? Earlier, if government want, they might take your land. They might take your land, but now you have protection of your property, है ना? Then he made a clear legal procedure, है ना? Earlier it was not very clear, है ना? He made efficient government, है ना? And making justice system organized, predictable and rational. Okay, so Napoleonic Code is one of the most important question, and that's it. Okay, how was liberalism allied to national unity in Europe in early decade of 19th century? So now people will ask you, nationalism is different thing, liberalism is different thing. So how they are related? So though we have points here, but you should also know, when you want freedom, then and then only you will take initiative, then and then only you will fight, है ना? So the main reason behind the nationalism in Europe was liberty only. People wanted liberty. Hey, you are king, you are no longer my god, you will not decide what I will do and what I want, है ना? So that is the another thing. So liberalization, liberal mean free. Liberalization and national unity were closely connected in early 19th century Europe because liberal idea inspired people to demand freedom, है ना? I am giving you idea that you can be free, you could have a better life, है ना? So freedom, represent government, है ना? Promotion of political right. So here people was getting the idea that a common person can also have a better life, common person can also play important role in decision making, है ना? Equality and national identity, है ना? It give individual idea that you are part of nation. You are part of nation and you are important. Earlier what used to happen? King is everything. Who represents the country? King. Whose words will be follow? King. Here the idea of nationalism, the idea of individual identity, idea of liberty, these things are shaping the national unity. So challenge the foreign rule, liberal idea motivated people to resist, dominate by the foreign power. You may know that sir, the Europe was not very uniform. In some German speaking region, some French people are ruling. In Austrian region, some German people are ruling. है ना? So what used to happen, there was multi-dynastic rule, है ना? And people don't like the idea, I am French and why I am being ruled by this another person, है ना? So support of national movement, है ना? And due to which we saw that unification of Italy, Germany, and then the strange case of Britain, and so on. So all the revolution take place by liberalization idea only, है ना? Analyze the role of Giuseppe Mazzini in unification of Italy. This is one of the most important questions. Although all the questions that I have selected today are important only, है ना? After analyzing question paper from 2014 to till date, I have selected some most frequent high weightage question. Every question is important itself, है ना? Though you don't go through my answer, you have your own answer, you have your teacher's note, whatever you have, but I will highly suggest you to watch these questions, है ना? To watch these questions. Okay, so Giuseppe Mazzini play a crucial role in unification of Italy, है ना? He was also known as the person who gave the idea of unification of Italy. Okay, so what he did, the very first thing he did, he gave a ideological leadership. He founded Young Italy, है ना? The very first thing, because without an institution you cannot do anything. He founded Young Italy, है ना? Whose movement was to create unified and independent Italian Republic. He inspired the Italian people with the Italy should be a nation and free from the foreign rule, है ना? His idea was that. He mobilized the mass through the speeches, writing, activism, nationalist feeling among the people, and encouraged people to participate in revolutionary movement. So what he did everything in his power to unify the country. Making a secret society, writing speeches, mobilizing masses, everything what he could do to unify his country. You see, these questions are most important. Unification of Italy, unification of Germany, strange case of Britain, है ना? They are very important, है ना? So answer may be different. The writing pattern of individual differs from each other, है ना? Because in essays there is no rigid and absolute answer. Okay, he also made a moral force and patriotism, promoted the idea of duty, sacrifice, national pride, making nationalism a mass movement rather than just a noble elite cause, है ना? Though I should not emphasize too much on a question, but you can relate this problem with India, है ना? Earlier when Gandhiji was doing revolt, what was happening? Only the elite educated people was participating in it and the poor or uneducated people were unaware. So he made sure that every Italian become the part of his movement, not only the elite one. So his vision and writing influence other European nationalists also, है ना? And hence he become a person who unified the Italy, है ना? Now 1830s were considered the beginning of great difficulty in Europe. This is also good question, है ना? Okay, so these were considered to be beginning of great difficulty in Europe. How, sir? In 1830s, the marked the start of political and social economical challenge in Europe due to the rise of nationalism, liberalism and social unrest. Now, earlier what happened? That people was happy whatever they had. But now it is not. Okay. Countries like France, Belgium, Italy witnessed the revolt against the monarchy, demand of constitutional government and national independence. Okay, so nationalist movement, ethnic group under the foreign rule, demanding self-rule and challenging the established government European order. So why it is becoming bad? Because now people are challenging. Hard time because people are challenging it, है ना? Though there is poverty also, है ना? And another thing, social and economical disturbance is there. Industrialization caused unemployment, poor working condition, urban and unrest, adding the difficulty faced by the government. Then political instability is there. So what is happening? Sir, till 1830, people believed in their faith that king is God, whatever he says is my destiny. But now what happening? Due to industrialization is causing positive as well as negative impact. Due to industrialization, normal people are getting money, and normal people are getting money, hence they are getting educated, they are revolting against the king. But due to industrialization, unemployment is also rising. So both of them are contributing in unrest in country. Both of them are contributing in unrest of country. What people are, those who are getting money are revolting against the king, those who are not getting the money are being unemployed. So both of them are creating problem. So the political instability, that we know that new people, the new thinkers are developing, they are saying, they are challenging the authority of king. So this is also a good question. Now culture play an important role in creating idea of nation. The very first topic that you may have discussed in your history would be, what is nation? Nationalism in Europe or nationalism in India, whatever you are studying, what is nation? So nation is something, a piece of land where people had a common set of history, or they believe in common culture. These are the thing. So how culture play an important role? Let us see. In 19th century, the Europe culture was central to forming a nation identity, and romanticism played an important role. The questions are also asked oftenly on romanticism. Questions are also asked on romanticism. Okay, so it emphasized on national culture. Romantic thinkers celebrated the folk song, literature, traditional, showing pride in the shared heritage. Okay, so the culture, language as a unifying force. What people was using, that you and me, both of us speak same language, so we are brothers. So we are brothers. So they used language as a unifying force. Writer, poet promoted the local language instead of foreign or elite language, helping poor to connect better. If I can communicate with you in better way, I would have better relation with you. I would be able to do better business with you, or we can fight a common enemy. So language is very important. Here also they are writing. Historical glorification, romanticism highlights the nation's history, hero, myths, creating a sense of collective pride. You see the sense of collective pride. We also say now, we are Indians. So we are proud to be Indian, though we have 1,000 problems in our country, but still we have a collectivism. On the name of our country, we get united. Okay. And influence on national movement. Cultural revival inspired the people to fight for political freedom and independence, linking to the culture with the nation's building. So these are the answers. Now, the most serious source of nationalist tension in Europe after 1817 was area of Balkans. How can you say that Balkan is the most serious area? So let us see that. Balkans become the most serious source of national tension in Europe after 1871 due to growing Slavic nation struggle against the foreign domination. As I already told you that in Europe, what was happening? The people are divided in small chunks. This chunk is ruled by another dynasty. This chunk is ruled by another emperor. So the Balkan region, which was very diverse, now the people are demanding their own independence. Now they are demanding their own rule. So now Slavic nationalism is growing and the foreign power are facing problem. rise of Slavic movement. Slavic people under the Austrian and Ottoman Empire rule saw the political independence and unity based on shared language and culture. Okay. Pan-Slavism, the idea of unifying all Slavic people, inspired the nationality and threatened the stability of multi-ethnic empire like Austrian, Hungarian or Ottoman Empire. So ethnic conflict was also there. Tension between Slavs and the ruling people led to uprising and revolt of increasing political instability in region. The Balkan became the flashpoint and international tension, drawing the major power from Russia, Austria-Hungary and Germany, contributing the destabilization of Europe. So this is our another question. How did the French Revolution spread the spirit of nationalism in Europe? Explain with the suitable argument. And this is, I guess, arguably the favorite question of CBSE. Arguably the favorite question of CBSE. In fact, your first chapter in 9th was also French Revolution. Why we are so much emphasizing on French people? Because, sir, you may remember when France sneezes, the rest of Europe get cold. Sir, this is the epicenter of all revolution. So, CBSE asked question on the relevance. We are studying history, we are studying politics, but who give origin to all of this? Sir, France. So, France is very important. So, how French Revolution is important? And we know after French Revolution only the Italian unification, German unification or other unification or nationalism took place. In fact, our Indian leaders were also inspired by them. Okay. So, let us focus on answer. The French Revolution spread nationalism across the Europe. Very first point. They promoted the idea of freedom, equality and citizens' right. Freedom, equality and okay, so where we were? They promoted the idea of freedom, equality and citizen rights, idea of popular sovereignty. The revolutionary introduced the concept that sovereign belong to the people, not the king, inspire others to demand self-rule. That is also an important point. First they give the idea of freedom, liberty and so on. But now they are also giving the idea of sovereignty. They are saying who the king is to take our decision. Why king will take our decision? We are the one. So, the revolution introduced the concept. Okay, we discussed this. Principles like equality before the law, rights of citizen, encourage the people to see themselves as a part of nation. Earlier, who was nation? The king. The king is nation. Now people are seeing themselves as a part of nation. Okay. Not just subject of a ruler. The revolution and war challenged the absolute monarchy and motivating other nations to fight foreign domination. So what is happening now? People are also fighting against their own king. People are also fighting against the foreign rulers. So this is occurring. Now, sir, this is the ideology, no? So you have some ideology. If I like it, I will follow. If I don't like it, I won't follow. But there was a person who helped in spreading this ideology at very large scale, and this person was Napoleon. What Napoleon used to do? Napoleon used to call him as a liberator of Europe. That I am the one who will liberate the Europe. I will help the Europe to get the independence. I will help them to make their life better. So what Napoleon did? He did a war on neighboring country, and wherever he goes, he spread the ideas. Okay. So Napoleon conquest and the Netherlands, creating national consciousness, formation of national identity. That was also given by the France. Shared struggle against the external power and ruler help people to identify the common language, common nation and the culture. How did the Greek freedom struggle arouses nationalist sentiment in Europe? So this is another great question. Okay, so how one country's independence give sentiment to rest of Europe? Because sir, Greek is considered to be the cultural center of Europe, because all the people, all the language, all the things that is now in Europe was from Greek only. Greek struggle for independence inspired the nationalist feeling across the Europe, fighting against the foreign rule. If you remember, Greek was under the control of Ottoman Empire. Greek revolted against the Ottoman Empire, showing that people could unite to achieve the freedom and self-rule. Okay. Romantic support across the Europe. So now again the romantic support. Sir, the poets, the different writers are writing about the problem of Greek, that the garden of Europe, the mother of our culture is in pain. It is ruled by the Muslims, it is ruled by the foreigner. So these kind of romantic ideas is going through the people, and this is causing sentiment across the Europe. European writer, poet, artists celebrate the struggle, linking it with the heroism, culture, liberty that aroused the feeling. Success of Greek encouraged the Italian, German and Poles to pursue their own national unity and independence. We know now, we have studied the case of Germany unification through war. We have studied the case of Italian revolution. Here only we studied the Giuseppe Mazzini. So this is it. Now, cultural and historical identity. Greek highlights their ancient heritage, reminded European of a shared history and culture from the basis of nationhood that we discussed. Explain the program for unified Italy Republic put forward by the Giuseppe Mazzini. Now you may ask me that, sir, this is the repeated question. This is repeated but little bit modified question. So let us have a look on this. Okay. In 1830s, Giuseppe Mazzini proposed a program to create a unified Italy through the movement Young Italy. Now, Mazzini wanted all Italian territory to be brought together as a single independent republic. He advocated that democratic system with the elected representative, freedom of all citizens, nationalism, patriotism, this should be happen, and encourage Italian to develop love and nation for the people. Mass participation, and rest is the same only. Okay, so why the Britain's unification was strange? So this question is asked very oftenly. And I have wrote it in little bit funny way, so that you can remember it in better way. Sir, unlike Germany or Italy, Britain political unification happened peacefully. They didn't launch a war on their neighbor, or they didn't do a physical struggle, but it was a political struggle. England plus Wales give effective unified by 16th century. England plus Scotland by Act of Union, and England of Ireland also Act of Union. In 1801 they were united. There was no mass nationalism, no revolution, top-down politics. There was cultural difference, but that was suppressed. There was two different kind of community. Britain support one of them, and hence by their internal conflict become weak, and Britain took over them. So this is how the Britain got its power, and it became United Kingdom. Scotland, Wales, Ireland retain the distinct language, and law is same. That's why the case of Britain is different. Empire versus nation. British identity was tied as to the colonial rule and global influence to the internal national unity, contrast with the continental Europe, है ना? And that is the difference. Examining the significance of Statue of Liberty in Frederick Soriot painting The Dream of Worldwide Democratic and Social Republic, है ना? So this is also one of the most important question, है ना? One of the most important question. Okay, so Frederick Soriot series of paintings, है ना? So though you may find it, sir, it is to from 9th standard, है ना? But still it is somewhat similar to our nationalism in Europe. That's why they can ask on Frederick Soriot also, है ना? So his painting, which was made in 1848, है ना, in which Statue of Liberty was there, है ना, that symbolizes freedom, democracy and universal human rights. What it was showing? Freedom, democracy and universal human rights. Symbol of liberty representing the triumph of democratic idea over the monarchy, operation of universal aspiration. Liberty leads to procession of people from all nations, indicating the dream of worldwide republic. Inspiration for nationalism, encourage the people to fight for equality, fraternity, social justice, linking the liberty with the national and social awakening. है ना? So one picture is depicting that many idea. Artistic message, he used the statue as a beacon of hope, show democracy and social republic spread across the globe. So that's it for the first chapter. Now we are moving to the second chapter. So the most important question of first chapters are discussed. You may have different habit of writing answer. You may be following any teacher's answer, your own notes or whatever you are doing, but make sure you are practicing these set of question, because these set of question are chosen from 2014 till now. Okay, most frequent and most weighted questions are there. Okay, explain with the example the significance of non-cooperation movement in the Indian national movement. है ना sir? In nationalism of India, the very significant movement is this, है ना sir? Civil disobedience movement, non-cooperative movement, satyagraha, khilafat movement. These are some hot topic of your chapter. है ना? On this 4 topic only they can make question. So the non-cooperative movement 1920 to 22 was a significant in Indian national movement for several reasons. First, mass production, participation. Mass participation. Earlier, as I told you, before the arrival of Gandhiji, only few people or few elite educated people used to take participation in national struggle, but now mass, now a big number of people are taking participation. Millions of people, including students, peasants, workers, joined the protest, boycotted the foreign goods. So very first thing is mass participation. Second is unity across the community. Earlier what used to happen, Muslims used to say, we don't want your help, we are different, we don't have any problem with Muslims, Britishers. But Gandhiji also take their support and then united them also. Political awareness, Gandhiji also aware those who don't had idea that what is going on. What is going on in our country, so he aware people about the idea of Swaraj. Explain with the significance. Okay. Economic impact, boycott of British goods, encourage the indigenous industry and weaken the colonial economy. So what happened? Now sir, the very first point, Gandhiji is taking mass initiative, he is uniting the different community, he is economically harming the Britishers, है ना, and he did the peaceful resistance. So these are the significance of non-cooperative movement. I repeat, non-cooperative movement, civil disobedience movement, satyagrah, these are some hot topics of our chapter, है ना. So civil disobedience movement become a mass movement because it involved people from all section of society, है ना. So if you can see, it is afterward, है ना, it is afterward, है ना. So what happened? Wide participation as compared to non-cooperative. Civil disobedience have more number of people, है ना. Wide participation include the peasants, workers, student, women, है ना. Then it symbolify defiance, है ना. Gandhiji believed that Britishers are only able to rule us because we are helping them. So now we are defying them. We are not helping them. We are not participating any activity that is started by them. So this nationwide protest, you know, people refused to pay tax because it was also one of the scope of disobedience. What is meaning of disobedience? I want follow your orders. I won't follow your rules. You know, so civil disobedience movement, the wider participation, you know, economically also we are harming them. Leaders and local movements. The local leaders organized protest in village, mobilized rural people, and so on. Unity across the community, though it was less as compared to the Khilafat and non-cooperative, but still unity is still there. So these are the point. Now explain the role of Gandhiji in non-cooperative movement with example. Again you will say, yes sir, it is the same only. The question is same only, very same question. Answer will be same only. Earlier you just write about civil disobedience. Here you will stick the name of Gandhiji with each line starting. That's it, nothing new. How did Gandhiji, still same, civil disobedience movement without Gandhiji, with Gandhiji. They are just changing the word. They are just changing the word. But the question they are asking is directly or indirectly civil disobedience, salt march, non-cooperative movement, Khilafat movement, that only. So these are the questions. Now, history, fiction, folklore, song, popular prints and symbols developed the sense of collective belonging in India during 19th century. Explain the statement. You see, this kind of question can be asked in multiple chapters. First, nationalism in Europe. Second, nationalism in India. Fifth, print culture. Sir, how they are helping people to get a common identity? How they are helping people to get common identity? So this is important. Okay. During 19th century, in India the print reached very late. During 19th century, Indians began to develop a sense of collective identity, national consciousness through the cultural expression of history and folklore. The stories of ancient king and freedom struggle reminded the people of their shared heritage. And how can I prove a Gujarati or a Marathi that you belong from a same origin? Because they are speaking different language, they are living in different geographical region. So we can show that your ancestors fought together or your ancestors belong from a same land. So by telling them a shared history, by telling them a shared struggle, I can unite them. So that is it. Fiction and literature, novel and poems by the writers like Bankim Chattopadhyay inspired people. By listening to the national anthem, by listening to the national song, people are getting the sense of collectivism. And Indian song, patriotic song and print depicting the heroes spreading the national ideas widely among the common people. symbol and festival, using national symbol, festival and ritual to help people feel a part of larger community beyond the local region. And this is one of the reasons that we become the slave of Britishers. We were too much divided, too much divided. You can see cultural diversity in Europe also, but India, it is too much. So by organizing the fairs, by writing the poems, people gets the common history. Describe the spread of non-cooperative movement in countryside. Now this is different. We discussed non-cooperative movement, we also discussed civil disobedience movement, but sir, they all can be asked in multiple dimensions. Usually when civil disobedience movement is asked, we talk about them on city level. Same with the non-cooperative movement. But what people thought about them in tribal area, what people thought about them in village area, what people think about them in coastal area, what was the role of women, what was the role of old people. So these kind of question can be asked. Same civil disobedience movement, they can ask role of Muslims, role of lower caste people, why didn't a very large number of people show interest in it, what happened. So the non-cooperative movement spread widely in rural area, involving the peasants and villagers in the struggle against the British rule. Boycott of British institution, villagers refused to pay land revenue, because non-cooperative movement, I won't cooperate with you, I won't listen to you. Boycott of British institution, villager refused to pay land revenue, boycott courts, school and government office, adoption of Swadeshi practice. Peasants stopped using foreign clothes and started weaving the khadi, promotion of self-reliance. Local leaders and mobilization, local leader organized meeting, protest and rallies, bringing the ordinary village into the movement. So reasons can also be asked why the village people are interested in this movement. So the reason is high tax, the exploitation by the landlord, the forced cultivation of indigo, and make it relevant with the communal people. Unity and participation, Hindu and Muslim participated together, strengthening the national university. Okay, so analyze the way through which people of different community developed a sense of collectivism, that we also discussed. Explain the implication of First World War in economical and political situation of India. So what happened? The First World War took place during the time of 1914 to 18. And what happened? Sir, due to the First World War, the Britishers were spending too much money. Hence, they imposed lot of tax on us. So heavy taxation loan was imposed to fund the war and burdening the peasants and unborn workers. Second thing, shortage of food. Because sir, all of the material supplies are going to the soldiers, so shortage of food, and inflation is also rising. Indian industries expanded slightly, but most profit benefited Britain only. These were the economical impact. Now let us see the political impact, how the leaders of India reacted to it. So the Indians contributed soldiers and resources, expecting the political concession after the war. That is one of the most heated point. So Britishers and Indians were not agreeing on this point. Britishers said that you give us soldier, you give us help, we will give you little bit concession. And the Indians were happy, we will to get concession. But this was not very satisfactory. After the war, they didn't fulfill their promise. Promised reforms such as Montagu, Calmford reform, introduced limited self-government, but they fell short of expectation. They said, "Arey, you just give us soldier, now we will give you little bit of freedom, little bit of self government, है ना. So rise of nationalist sentiment, है ना, disappointed over the unfulfilled the promise, fueled the political unrest, strengthening the Indian National Congress and other movement. So you may say, sir, the role of First World War is very good for Indians. Are sir, why? Are because it enraged the people against the British so much that they demanded now to we want freedom, bhai. Now to we want freedom. है ना? Social impact, soldiers returning from war brought new idea of freedom, equality and self-rule, inspiring people to join nationalist movement. So Mahatma Gandhi launched a more broad-based movement in India by joining Khilafat Andolan. Explain 3 arguments. Why Khilafat, sir? Gandhi ji was Hindu and the major population of India is also Hindu. So why Khilafat movement? So let me give you a little brief about the Khilafat movement. That after the defeat of Ottoman Empire in First World War, there was a rumor that the supreme leader of Ottoman Empire, who was also known as Khalifa, who was very popular among the Muslims, will be removed. People thought that he will be removed and the Muslims of country were not very happy. So Gandhiji wanted to take advantage of their momentum. Gandhiji wanted that I can combine the rage of Hindus and Muslim to get a very big movement, and hence he wanted to join them. Okay, so Mahatma Gandhi joined Khilafat movement to broaden non-cooperative movement and involve more community. By supporting Khilafat cause, Gandhiji brought Muslim and Hindu together, strengthening the communal harmony. Mass mobilization, Khilafat issue encouraged peasants, students, workers, activists participate in movement. Boycotts and rally reached the movement. Symbolic moral leadership. Gandhiji involved legitimacy the government, showed non-violent political action could address both national and religious grievance. Okay. The effect of non-cooperative movement on economic front were more dramatic. Support your statement. And I already said you that they will ask you only non-cooperative civil disobedience. But sir, they are multi-dimensional question. Multi-dimensional, the same question can be asked for poor people, the peasants. How peasants participated in non-cooperative movement, what was the economic outcome of non-cooperative movement, what was the political outcome of non-cooperative movement, Khilafat movement. So there are 2-3 major movements only, but their output on different spaces can be asked. So here also non-cooperative movement had significant economic impact which were more visible than political. So very first is boycott of British goods. What happened? Boycott of British goods. Indian refused to use the British cloth and product, promoting the Swadeshi industry and affecting the British trade. So Gandhiji also used to believe that if we destroy them economically, they won't be able to rule our country. So first thing, so he is successful, quite successful. Promotion of indigenous industries. Now earlier the people find that Indian goods are expensive and I am getting better quality and cheaper product from British, but now due to the nationalist feeling, people are buying the national product. Increase in production of khadi, local handicraft, decline of revenue for British government. So these are the dramatic change that are brought by the non-cooperative movement. Mobilization of rural economy, villagers started spinning, moving, weaving the small scale production, creating a economical awakening. Describe any 2 satyagraha movement launched by Gandhiji just after his return from Bihar. So if somebody is not able to answer this question, then it is very difficult for them. Sir, Champaran, Kheda and Ahmedabad, these are the very first 3 work that he did in country. He believe he started unifying the country by doing satyagrah at local levels, है ना, the Champaran, Kheda, Ahmedabad, है ना. So I guess this question is तो very well known, but just have a look and then we can move ahead. Why did Gandhiji call off the civil disobedience movement? है ना. So Gandhiji call off civil disobedience movement due to the political negotiation and concern over national's interest. So the very first thing, Gandhi-Irwin Pact, Britain agreed to release political prisoner and allowed the limited civil liberty. Yeah, so Gandhiji said, "Acha, I am getting this though." You see, Gandhiji is always against the violence, not because he is a scared person. He is a very, he is not brave, but he don't want his people to die. So whenever he find out that my people are getting hurt, he call off the movement. People may call him coward, but he was not. So the very first thing he did was a Gandhi-Irwin Pact, in which the political prisoners were to be released. In return, the Gandhiji suspended the movement, avoiding violence. That is an important thing. Negotiation for constitutional reform. Suspension created the opportunity to participate in round table conference. So these are the things. Analyze the impact of Gandhi-Irwin Pact on Indian freedom struggle. Arey sir, only Gandhiji, only civil disobedience movement, only non-cooperative movement. You are revolving around some part only. So CBSE is asking this only. 2025, 12, 14. So civil disobedience and non-cooperative movement and satyagrah, if you are doing these three only, still your 50% chapter is done. You can expect half of the question to be already known. So Gandhi-Irwin Pact, significant political and social impact on Indian freedom struggle. Release of political prisoner that we discussed. Thousands of freedom fighters were released. Suspension agreed, and we to discuss that same question. Analyze the role of Alluri Sitaram Raju in Indian national movement. This was also a very unique character. If you know about him, he used to claim that I cannot die from arrow and so on. So many superpower he had. But he was a good guy. He was a guy who wanted his country to be freed. He wanted the Swaraj. Alluri Sitaram Raju was a prominent revolutionary leader who fought against the British colonial rule in Rampa region, Andhra Pradesh. Even if you are writing this much, still you are getting some marks. What he was a revolutionary leader in the Rampa region of Andhra Pradesh. Leadership in tribal uprising. Led a Rampa rebellion of tribal people against the British forest law and exploitation. Guerrilla warfare. Use hit and run tactic and knowledge of forest to resist the British forces effectively. Mobilizing the masses inspired the tribal community to fight their rights and resist against the colonial operation. Symbol of resistance, become the nationalist icon symbolizing the courage, sacrifice and fight for the justice. So here it is not written, but he was also a very big fan of Gandhiji. He believed that we can get independence by unity, but he was against Gandhiji, the policy of non-violence. He believed that freedom can only be got by the way of fight. He believed that. He was also against the alcohol. Though localized, his struggle highlight the role of tribal community, nationalism and challenge the British authority. Now we are moving to globalization. So half of our history is already done. Globalization is a process of rapid integration, interconnection between countries. Explain the statement with the example. So Globalization refers to the process where countries become increasingly, and that too should not be discussed because everybody knows, sir, the globalization word itself explains. Globalization means countries coming together. How? Sir, somebody is bringing it physically? Arey na. है ना? By the mean of technology, by the mean of communication, है ना? The availability of transport, the trade, है ना? The more it occurs, the more globalization we get. है ना? So here they have just given some points that trade and commerce, cultural exchange, and knowledge and science technology. And the best example of globalization right now we are taking the lecture on Zoom, which is American company. So migration and travel, that we have already seen that, sir, people, some Indian people work and live in Iran, some Indian people work and live in Sri Lanka, some Sri Lankan people live in Nepal. So what is happening? People are moving from one nation to another nation and bringing their culture. So why was Indian subcontinent significant to trade network before the European intervention? Because of its strategic location. Because we had a very good strategic location in Indian Ocean, and also we were the center of the world, virtually, not really, because the earth is a sphere and sphere don't have a center, basically not on the surface, inside you can have, but if you see, a very big part was Asia and another big part was Europe, and exactly between the Asia and Europe India was located. So wherever anybody is transporting anything, it has to go from India. So Indian subcontinent was a key hub in pre-modern trade network due to the geographical location, resources, and cultural product. Strategic location, as I already told you, situated between the East and West Asia, India was natural link in maritime and trade route. Rich resources, and these are the things that we used to export. So why we are saying that? Because virtually we were, sir, virtually we were Europe, in Asia, and here we are. You see, for some time Pakistan was also a center of world trade. Before the development of Northeast, Pakistan was epicenter of the flight. All the big flights from Asia used to land on Pakistan Karachi port to refuel and rest and then go to Europe or America. But after the development of UAE and the neighboring country, its hotspot was taken away. Similar to India. Cultural and technological exchange, Indian knowledge in astronomy, mathematical and medicine spread to the network. So it shows that how important India was. How did European help in expansion of trade, knowledge and custom across the European country during mid-16th century? Okay, so this is not part, so let us move it. This is smallpox. How did the smallpox prove us that the most powerful weapon of Spanish conquest in 16th century was? Yes. So sir, before they can reach to the enemy, the smallpox reach their enemy and kill them, hence they were able to acquire the land without even fighting. During the Spanish conquest of America, smallpox played a crucial role, helping the Spain dominate the indigenous population. Massive mortality. Why? Because they don't had immunity. They were isolated from world for so long that they don't even had immunity for the basic diseases. Smallpox, a disease known to the native population, caused widespread death, significant reducing the residence of Aztecs and Incas. Psychological impact, survivors were terrified and demoralized, believing the disease was a sign of divine punishment, which weakened their resist. Facilitate the Spanish control. With indigenous community decimated, Spanish forces could conquer large territory with the future soldiers, है ना. Unintentional biological weapon, that to be already discussed, है ना. These are some example. If you want to use them, you can use, है ना. Trade and cultural exchange always went hand to hand. Explain this statement, है ना. So there is not too much to explain. Whenever somebody asks you this question, you just explain Silk Route. That's the religious people also travel from Silk Route, है ना. The movement of Buddhism from China to Europe, from China to Japan, the spread of print culture from China to Europe and Japan, then India, है ना, all take place from this route only. Art, cultural influence and so on. Spanish conquest, that was. Okay, now let us move to very last part of our discussion, that is print culture. Now how much is remaining? Let it be. Not everybody welcomed the printed book. Explain the statement with example of 16th century Europe. So that is very natural that whenever the new technology arises, not everybody welcome it. Right now also AI, we don't like it because we think that it might take job away. So when the print culture was introduced, the people who you had exclusive control over the books were frightened, है ना. The people who were explaining the meaning of Bible to the common people were also pissed, because now people also have one copy of Bible and they are finding their own interpretation of it. People are making their own interpretation of it. So now the authority, the already existing authority, are being challenged. That's why they don't like it. So that is only written in big ways with the example, but overall this was the statement. And religious authority feared that the print book could spread heretical idea. Catholic churches censored the certain book that contradicted the church teaching. Conservative intellectuals, scholars and scribed worried that the traditional manuscript culture could be undetermined. Some universities were reluctant to adopt printed book in their curriculum. Fear of social change, nobody likes the change, though they claim, but nobody like it naturally. Printed book enable the common people across the knowledge which challenge the existing social hierarchy, resistance from scribes and so on. Analyze the contribution of Johann Gutenberg in development of printing press. This is very important question. Okay, so Johann Gutenberg played a pivotal role in print revolution in Europe. He invented the movable typing printing. So very important, because through his invention people are able to do mass printing. Develop a metal movable type allowing letter to reused for multiple pages. This innovation greatly increased the speed and efficiency of book production. Printing in Gutenberg Bible, his press produced the first major book in Europe, the Gutenberg Bible. So the very first book they produced was Bible only. Demonstrate high quality of mass production. Impact on knowledge dissemination. Printed mode of book was cheaper and widely available to spreading literacy education. So now people who never had chance to learn, read, now they can also have access to the books because they are now quite cheap. It also help in educating the people, hence doing another revolution, information revolution. By 17th century, the flourishing of urban culture in China also lead to diversity of use of print. Explain the statement with the example. By 17th century, the printing in China was no longer limited to official or scholarly, but also hand due to urbanized growth and literary. So same, we discussed that earlier what happened, that only few people had access. only I have access, so I will give my interpretation. Look, on page number 6 this is written, and that is the ultimate statement of God. But now people are reading, so they have their own interpretation. Same in China, not only scholar people but common people also. The unborn culture and literacy, cities like Beijing, Nanjiang, had growing population of merchant, artisan and official who demanded book, diversified the printed content. Book were printed for education, entertainment, religion and practical knowledge. Earlier it was only printed for few works, but now it is being more diversified. People are getting education also, it is used for entertainment also. You will if you will read the chapter, you will find out that the ladies who were free at their afternoon time also used to read book. The people who used to study for competitive exam also used to study this book. So now the use of book is diverse. Mass production and accessibility. So now they are just giving the same word again and again. So wood block printing allowed cheaper production, and here we are talking about wood block printing. We are not talking about Europe. Europe had metal cylinder, but here still we have wooden block only. The difference between China and Europe is quite significant. Quite significant. Okay, wider audience beyond the elite, spread of idea skill. Printing help popularizing the Confucian text, medical knowledge, literature, Louiser reading and reflecting the urban taste. And examples are also given. The Romans of Three King and Water Margin were printed in urban readers. Explain the measure taken by the colonial government to censor presses in India. Analyze the effect on national movement. I already told you that print will be asked in nationalism in Europe also, India also, and chapter number 5 also. Why? Because print can give you idea, and anybody who is facing your resistance will not want that you spread your idea. Anybody, nobody wants to have a smart enemy. So what they want to do, they want to control the source of information. Hence they started censoring the Indian books. The British colonial government implemented a strict press control to suppress the nationalist idea in India. If you know, there was a vernacular press act, that any regional Indian newspaper can be taken away by the government if they found something irrational about it. And most of the time nothing was irrational, just it was against the Britishers. So very strict laws was there to censor it, legislation to control the press. Press Act of 1910 required newspaper to deposit security money and could be seized by sedition content. Early act like Vernacular Act targeted Indian language. Censorship measure. Newspaper were monitored from anti-British article. Editor and publisher faced fine, imprisonment for publishing national idea. Now the second part, impact on nationalism. Initially the censorship restricted the mass communication. People were not able to communicate because why? The printing press are under the control of Britishers. They are under the control of Britishers, but sir, later they found out that they can print and share among their people by different method also. However, it stimulated creative nationalist leaders like Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Bipin Chandra Pal use alternative method to spread the idea, encourage the rise of secret and underground political publications, strengthen the anti-colonial sentiment. How did easy access to book develop a new culture of reading during the 18th century? During 18th century, the availability of book increased due to printing innovation, wider distribution, creating a new reading culture, cheaper and accessible book. The printing reduced the cost of book, making them affordable for more middle class and the artisan. So same stuff. So now it is cheaper, so no people can read it. Same thing. So one common thing you can write in every paper, sir, in Europe, in India, in China, everywhere. What? That, sir, books are cheap, it is accessible to more people can read it, more people can improve their quality of life. Printing reduced the cost of book, making them affordable for middle class. Emergence of public library. You see, this is important. Emergence of public library. Why Europe is 2 steps ahead of us? Because they are making it available to lowest section of society, which was quite difficult in India and China. So emergence of public library and circulatory library. People can borrow book, promoting the reading among the urban and rural population. Rise of diverse literature. Earlier what used to happen, only books were there. This is book, it had some content, you can read it and then after you can share it with the other people. But now novels are also there, magazines are also there, newspaper are also there. People are getting information, but these information are different in format. Impact on society. Literacy spread beyond the, okay, though that though we to discuss it so many times. Analyze the development journey of print culture in India. This is very important question. Very important question. And the question in which the students make mistake, because normally we remember about China and Europe. So this question is important. Our country, they are talking about the journey of print culture in India evolved gradually with the arrival of foreign missionary. You see, the foreign missionary, it was brought in India by foreigner, not by the Indian. So that you should know. The Portuguese missionary introduced the printing in Goa. The very first printing press that came in India was Portuguese. That was brought by the Portuguese, mainly for the religious text. Jesuit printed Christian literature in local language, spread regional printing expansion under the British rule. British East India Company supported printing for administrative purpose, education and law. So now first Portuguese brought it for their religious purpose. Now the British are using it. Then the first press in Kolkata was printed textbook, newspaper and government document. So the growth of vernacular press. Vernaculars are regional text. Newspaper in Bengali, Hindi, Marathi, Tamil appear and spread across the people. Bengal Gazette was James Augusta Hickey was first Indian newspaper. These facts are very important, very important. Impact on society. Printing promoted the literary, social reform and enabled spread of nationalist idea. Just a minute, shift from the hand printing. Okay. So, shift from hand printing to mechanical printing lead to revolution in Europe. So, now you know, sir, whenever they ask about print, first thing we will write that with the arrival of technology, now the mass production of printing can be done on cheap basis and the accessibility can be more possible. One line is to fix. Whenever somebody asks you about the print culture, one line is to fix. The shift from hand printing to mechanical printing. Okay, hand printing. Earlier, movable type printing was slow, labor intensive, limiting the number of book. So that was problem of hand printing. Mechanical printing innovation. Introduction of mechanical press in 19th century, like steam powered press, increased the printing speed and volume. Mass production and accessibility. Book pamphlet become the cheaper, wider, available to the lower middle class. Impact on society. It's facilitate the knowledge, literary and public debate. Now people are reading. So what they will do with their knowledge? They will debate. They will get new idea, and hence they will improve their society. Enable political and scientific literary ideas to circulate widely. This is also one of the great achievement of print. One of the very great achievement. Earlier, sir, Bible is there, Gita is there, and people are reading this only. But sir, after the arrival of print, the scientific idea, the scientific aptitude is also spreading across the globe. So that is important. Print revolution in 16th century Europe transformed the life of people. So that we discussed earlier only. Print culture created the condition within which the French Revolution occurred. Give any three suitable argument. This is very, very important question. Very important question. Print culture in 18th century. Now, France played a crucial role in shaping the ideas and public opinion that led to French Revolution. So people claim that, although this is a debatable topic, that print caused the French Revolution or print was a just tool. People debate that it was the trigger or it was the tool. So, but still they are asking us three arguments that support that it was a trigger. Okay. Spread the enlightenment idea. It give idea to the people that this can be done. Book, pamphlet, newspaper circulated the idea of library, equality and fraternity. Work of Voltaire, Rousseau and Montesquieu reached the world audience. Political awareness. People are getting more aware. Printing enabled discussion of government corruption. Earlier people don't even know that this is the process, what is corruption, what is taxation. So now printing is making people aware about the system. People are getting aware, and when you will get aware, you will ask question. Formation of reading public, coffee houses, saloon, library allowed people to debate idea, creating on the information of political consciousness. Pamphlet criticizing the monarchy and privilege inspired popular uprising. So these are the argument that says that print is one of the reason that caused the French Revolution. It gave people idea, it gave people knowledge. So that is it. Print culture in India during print is not only stimulated publication conflicting amongst the community, but it also connected community and different parts of India. How? Sir, print culture in India during 19th century had profound impact on communication. How? Publication of diverse opinion like newspaper, journal allowed different people to communicate and express their view. So earlier people was restricted in their region, but now print is there. It is providing them the national problems. You are getting national level problem in your hand. You can discuss it with your friend or anyone. Publication of diverse opinion, newspaper, journal allowed different communities to express this. Newspaper like Kesari, Marathi, the Indian Spectacular Debate, and it causes issues. Connecting communities. Printing media help to bridge the regional and linguistic divide. Connecting people in different part of India, enabling the exchange of idea between urban and rural population, spreading awareness. Promotion of nationalism. Print become tool to mobilize public opinion against the colonial rule. That we also discussed. That sir, earlier people was not able to say anything to Britishers because Britishers are far more technologically advanced than us. So we cannot do anything against them. But by reading, by debating, by sharing our idea, we can at least arrange a better protest. Promotion of nationalism, है ना? After reading the patriotic poems, songs, folklores, है ना? We are developing patriotism in ourselves, है ना? Social reform awareness, enable the discussion on education, caste, women's safety, and influence the public debate. And here we end our session. Tomorrow we will meet for the geography. Thank you.